All right then, so since we successfully created the cards and everything, so now what we need to do is all we have to add the Stripe checkout payment. So let's go ahead and search for Stripe dashboard, stripe.com. Sorry, if you click stripe.com, stripe.com, and that will takes you to the Stripe over here. So please go ahead and create an account over here. So once you create an account, you will be navigated to the dashboard. So once you open the dashboard, so at the top left, you can see your app over here, your account. You can choose a different accounts. So initially the account is going to be in the test mode only, so don't worry. So in this case, I'm just going to create a new account, and I'm going to say as food app web 23 something, and choose the country of origin as in India, operation India, create an account. So this will take a few seconds to create an account. Give your account password. By the time when you create an account, use the same password. So this will activate your account. This will take a few seconds. Once it's activated, that account will be created, and then we can go ahead and we can use that account inside our it's taking time loading. My battery, it's going to fully charged. Okay, so now what we're going to do, you can see now we have that food app web over here, and you can see it's in the test mode. To activate this payment, to bring it to production mode, you need to activate this payment. You need to provide all the information which is necessary for that activations and everything. Let's, in this case, let's keep it as a developer mode. Let's go to the developers, and you can see it gives you the security key and everything. You can see the security key over here. Otherwise, you can go to the API keys, and there you can see your secret key. Okay, so now what we need to do is, basically what we are going to do, you need to use the Stripe documentation, search for Stripe accept payments, and there you can see this option, accept a payment. Click that, and that will takes you to this accept a payment option. Basically we're going to use the web option, and we're going to use this exact layout. Okay, it's just looking exactly fine, and this design is completely awesome. So which is provided by the Stripe itself. So we need to set up the Stripe. So this is completely server side, not your front end. This stuff is completely server side. So let's go to your Control J, and let's stop the server for the time being. Stop it, and let's add this npm install Stripe. Make sure that you're inside the functions folder, npm install Stripe. So that will install the Stripe in our cloud functions. Then we need to have this Stripe checkout option. Don't worry, we'll take care of this later. And if you scroll down, you can find this router over here. So before that, we need to configure the Stripe with our secret key. So let's go here, and we can reveal our secret key over here. This is our secret key. So click this to copy, and then get back to your environment variable, env, get back to your environment variable. So where is that? Here it is, environment variable. So let's, inside this environment variable, I'm just going to say Stripe underscore key, and then paste that key, security, without any double quotes or anything. Then I'm just going to say client underscore URL, and you need to provide your client URL. That means the front end. For the time being, it is going to be localhost 3000. Save that URL over here. Okay, I'll show you where we're going to use this URL. Now we just need to restart. Whenever we are running, we're going to restart our server, so no issues. And then let's get back to the accept payment. So now let's get back to the products. Scroll down to the end. Right after here, what we're going to do is, I'm just going to create this Stripe by require, and we're gonna configure our security key over there. So let's go to that location, go to the top of it, and right after here, I'm just going to say const Stripe equals require Stripe. We're gonna get that Stripe. Then I'm going to supply my key over here, process dot environment variable dot, where is that nv file? I think I closed it. Let's copy that variable and let's give it over here. Fine. Now the stripe is initiated. Let's go down completely at last to the end, and right over here I'm going to copy this from here to here. Copy it and paste it. We're going to change this to router. Okay, this is the create checkout session. Okay, and this is the request object. Fine. And we're gonna stripe checkout, we're gonna create the stripe checkout session with this particular line items. Basically the line items is nothing but your product. By default we're gonna have some default line items. Let's check whether it is working fine or not. And in this case, instead of sending this request response dot redirect URL session, like session line items, 1 second, where it is that, okay, this instead of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say send session. Instead of this I'm going to say delete this URL. We have this URL object and then we're going to get that session dot URL. Okay, instead of redirect 303 session dot URL, I'm going to get that URL object and I'm going to send that session dot URL. And instead of this client over here, instead of this, what we're going to do is we're going to configure, we're going to create our own separate route like checkout success and cancel and all those things. So what we're going to do is let's go here and let's go to our client front end, and then I'm going to create one more container. Where is that container over here? I'm going to say not container. Let's go to the components. Let's create a new file, check out success.jsx. For the time being I'm just going to say RAFCE, and from here I'm just going to literally copy everything and I'm going to paste it over here, which is coming from all these necessary files. So let's say button click. Okay, so header from the components, fine, nav link, and then far favorite left. Okay, so everything is fine over here. And then this one bill, it's coming from assets folder, fine. So this is just a basic design which I created for the checkout page, so you can use the exact design over here. So I'm just going to word wrap it. So please pause the video content and then create this checkout success page. Basically it's nothing but it's just using the exact same screen, complete height and width, header, and inside this it's a center division which is going to load an image, and after that amount paid successfully, and after that it's a button which helps the user to navigate to the home screen. So this is the checkout success, and let's go to the main over here. So right after that, in the main we need to create a separate route for this. We need to create a separate route. Where is that main? So inside the main only we created the route, right? Inside the main or inside the app? Okay, it's inside the app. So we need to go to the app.js and we need to create a separate route. Copy the separate route, enter, paste it. This is the route, checkout success. Control and import it and make sure that it's imported properly. Checkout success, it's imported from, this is supposed to come from components, not from here. This is supposed to be inside here, fine. So then save the changes. Now if I click this, if I copy this, and if I go here and where, I think here, this should come from here. checkout success. Save the changes. Checkout success is we haven't added in the index.js file. That's the reason. Add it, copy and paste it here, and then let's say checkout success, copy it and export it defaultly from here. All right, so export checkout success imported as was not found in dot component. Where components checkout success is not defined still. What is the file name I created? File name I created, which is checkout success, but here what I used checkout success only. So here this is supposed to be checkout success. Save the changes. All right, so now let's go here to the checkout success page. Why it's reloading? It should go to the checkout success. Oh, sorry, this is that URL, my bad. Checkout success, and this is how that checkout page will looks like. This is how the checkout page will looks like. And let's go back here. Okay, since the Firebase function is not running, that's the API and everything is not validating, so that's fine. So we are successfully navigated to the success URL and everything. It's fine. Now let's get back to the product.js. over here, product.js, we need to update this URL in the product.js. So we already have that environment variable. So let's go here and let's create the dynamic string literals, and let's apply that product process.environment client URL success. Let's paste it the same thing over here, but instead of this checkout success, I'm going to remove it. So success URL is going to take this to this URL. So now what we need to do is, all we have to do is to go to cart. Okay, go to cart, and the place where we are clicking that checkout, that's the place we're gonna handle that checkout. So let's go to the cart, and where is that button, that place we are checking out? So let me start the function npm serve. Come on, npm serve. It's triggered, and now let me refresh this, so that will refresh the data. It's working. We have the cart, and we have to bring that checkout button over here. So let me bring that checkout button. So right after that total option, this is the place where we are displaying the total. So right after that total, or the entire division, this is that entire division. Right after here, we need to bring that total button click, and this is the function that we need to create for checkout. So let me go here and create the checkout const. Checkout is equals to handle checkout is equals to a callback function. Save the changes. So that will gives you the checkout button over there. So inside this handle checkout, now what we need to do is, I'm going to get the data. So inside this handle checkout, we need to call that checkout session through here. So I'm going to import the axios dot post, and then I'm going to use that base URL. We already exported that base URL in the API. So dollar base URL, we'll get that base URL slash, from the base URL, I'm going to use my URL, which is slash API slash checkout session slash double slash not necessary, API product slash create checkout session, which is coming from directly from here. All right, so then what we need to do is I'm just going to say like we need to call that checkout session, right? How we are calling over here. See, just like the same way we need to call that checkout session. So let's go here and then we need to call that checkout section. If this is successfully done, then that's going to return a response. Let's get that response. Okay, and then I'm just going to say console.log that response, and after that it's going to show an catch in case if there is any error. We're going to get that error and console.log that error, say the changes. All right, so let's go here, and if I click this create checkout, so is there is any error? No. Let me click it one more time. So nothing is happening. If I go to the inspect elements console, we are getting a cart object config. So we are getting the Stripe checkout data over here. See, we are getting that response. So we are getting the response status as 200, but why this is not navigating to that page? That's the quite different issue now. We are getting the URL Stripe session. So we are getting the Stripe session perfectly fine. So now what we need to do is we need to redirect this. So you can see in that we are getting the data and we are getting the URL. This is the URL that we need to navigate the user to that specific. So what we need to do is here, I'm just going to say if that is a response.data, then inside that you're going to have that URL object and response that to window.location.href equals response.data.url. All right, so now we don't need this console log changes. All right, save the changes. Let me close this, and now if I click this, that will takes that user to that Stripe checkout. Look at that. See, it's loaded over here. Okay, so we having that at the t-shirt, and we having that address, billing address informations and everything. All right, so now what we need to do is to all we have to do is to change this line items. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna send our own line items over there, and we're gonna render our line items in that particular place. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, then so now what we need to do is all we have to do is to get our own products over here, and we need to send it to our checkout session. So let's create const data is equals, I'm going to say user object. We need to get the user object because we need to know which user plays that object. User, then we're going to send the cart completely, cart. Then we need to have the total as well, get the total, and we'll send the total as well. So this is the data that we're going to send, and right after here I'm going to send our data over here. So data, save changes. So this data will now processed to the to our backend, to our backend over here. Where is that? Product CSS over here. So now let's go to the product.js. Now what I need to do is all I have to do is to get this. We need to get this line items. This is the line items, right? Let's cut this line items from here. Okay, so let's cut that line items from the deleted. So otherwise let's just cut that line items. What we're gonna do is I'm going to create Inside that router itself, over here, I'm going to create const. We're going to create our own line items, line underscore items. Let me do Control Z. Let me copy this object, make sure that object is exactly the same. So const your own line items is equals request, from the request dot body dot, we are sending the object in the name as, how, in the name as data. We are sending the object in the name as data. Inside the name we have the cart. Okay, inside the cart, what we have, if you go back to the, go back over there, inside the cart only, still it's loading. Here inside the cart only we have all the items and everything. So what we need to do is we need to say request dot body dot data dot, okay, we need to send, we need to set the we need to get the cart data dot cart. Then inside the cart, then we need to map those details. Map, we need to get the one by one item. Then we need to open a function. Then we need to return an object. So what are the things that you need to return? So here I'm just going to say price data. So let's copy this completely from here, quantity and everything. Let's copy this. So price data, currency is going to be INR, and product data name, what is the name is going to be? Name is going to be item dot, name is going to be item dot, what is that item name? Product cart, and get that product name, paste it here. Then we need to send the images. Images, it should be small lowercase, then send it as an array, item dot image URL, image URL. But there is a problem with the Stripe. You can see our image URL is too big, it's having more than 500 characters. When you're trying to send this image URL to your Stripe in a metadata, Stripe metadata doesn't allow you to have more than 500 characters, right? So we need to fix this issue only if you're deploying your Firebase cloud function, and you need to use the URL shorten extension to shorten your URL. Then only you can integrate it with the Stripe metadata. Okay, otherwise you can't send more than one items to your Stripe. It will not allow you to send it because this Firebase URL is too big. See, it's more than 500 characters. All right, so I'll show you where, what exact issue I'm talking about. Then metadata, we have the metadata object. Inside this metadata object, currently we are just going to send the ID as item dot product ID. We need to send the product ID. Copy it over here. So if you want to learn about this custom line items and everything, search here for line items. If you search for line items, that will gives you the line items, like we can see. Otherwise existing customers, show over here product and prices. Otherwise Stripe checkout. Inside the Stripe checkout, you can see there are different Stripe checkout options, like adding discount, adding shipping, and collect taxes. And yeah, if you scroll down, you can see all the informations. Just go through this documentation, right? So pre-fill customer data, like otherwise create your products upfront. You can have your own products over here. See, just like this, how to create your own products from here. And there are lots of options over here. It's completely given. Just you need to go through this documentation completely. You need to go through this documentation, each and every thing one by one. Take your time and go through this documentation. And then I'm just going to give the metadata information over here, and the unit amount is going to be item dot product price. Where is that product price? This is the product price. We're going to give that product price over here. Copy that product price. and we're gonna multiply it star 100. Okay, so if you want to, if you want to multiply, if it is a decimal unit, if it is coming decimal unit, you can multiply it by 100 and all those things. So otherwise, if you want to keep that unit price exactly as it is, so you don't need to multiply it. Okay, in this case I'm just going to multiply it by 100, and the quantity is going to be item dot quantity. Okay, so this is our line item. Make sure name, images, metadata, id, product id, unit amount, quantity, everything is exactly as supposed to be same. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to replace this line items with our line items. Okay, we need to replace this with our line items. So just send our line items over here, and the mode of payment is going to be same, success URL, everything is same. And next what we need to do is save the changes. Let's get back here, let's go to the cart, and now if I click checkout, that should navigate the user to that Stripe checkout session, and here you should be able to see your own products over here. Look at that, we have our own products, but now we can't see the shipping details. So let's go here and let's see how to add the shipping details. Add shipping, click here, and if you scroll down you can see how you can add your shipping address and all those things. All right, so scroll down and go through, see, customize it, all your shipping address informations, how fast you can deliver it, in hours or in days, or all those informations, everything is there. Okay, so you can check all those informations over here. All right, in this case I'm just going to give the shipping address which I already have in my hand. So right after this, above this line items, you need to paste it. Save the changes, and now let's get back over here. Let's go to the cart item, let's click this one more time, that will takes you to that, and now you can see shipping hours, free shipping, 2 to 4 hours free. Sorry, totally sorry. And here we have that email address and the number and the field and the billing address, everything is over there. Now let's fill some dummy informations, give the name, address, address line, pin code, and the state, and let's give a random number, and let's give 4242424242. That's a dummy card information, and give some dummy CV information, and click pay. So if the process of the payment is processing, it's showing something. Okay, authentication is completed, and now see the payment is successful, and it's redirecting the user to the home page. Now if you go to your API, and if you go to the payments option, your Stripe checkout, and you can see the payment is successful. So we successfully made that payment. So now what we need to do is, all we have to do is to once the payment is successfully done, we need to store this payment order in our own database. Then we need to clear all the cart items. So that for that we need to use this. We need to use this webhooks. We need to use this webhooks to do all those things. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right then, so now what we need to do is, so let's go here, go to your Stripe dashboard and go to the developers menu and click the webhooks. Since we successfully processing the payments is processing successfully. Now all we have to do is to go to here and click it, this test it in local environment, click it, and that will opens this. So for this, first you need to install your Stripe CLI. So click this and open it in a new tab. So please go ahead and download and install your Stripe CLI. If you're using Homebrew or Yum, macOS, Linux, Windows, so please follow these instructions to install the Stripe and log in with your Stripe. use this command line interface to log in with your Stripe. In my case, I'm going to open my terminal. Let me bring my terminal right over here. All right. So then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to log in with my Stripe. So click this URL, click this and paste that command over here. So that will log in you inside your Stripe. So it's waiting for the authentication. So this is the application that we are using, and then click allow access. That will allow the user to access your Stripe CLI. Now we authenticated successfully over there. So let's close this. And now next what we need to do, you can see the stage is completed. Next what we need to do is we need to listen to this specific webhook that we haven't added inside our router. So what we need to do is we need to add that router. So this is that, oops, not that one. This is the one that we need to add it inside our router. All right. So what we need to do is change this to Node.js over here. This is the event that we need to add it inside. From here to here, I'm going to copy it completely. And right after this, I'm going to paste it. And then I'm going to change this to router. And this is going to be express, which we haven't created. So let's create that. So const express equals we need to say require express. All right. So then what we need to do, scroll down completely, and here express.raw application.json, and let's change this to, let me make it a little bit big screen over here. Let's change this, press Control D, or and then select, because you can see we have changed this to request, and change this Control D, change this to response. All right. So save the changes. All right. So let me come back to the normal size screen, and now we need to listen to this Stripe. So copy this and then open the new terminal one more time. So let me bring one more terminal here. I'm just going to say paste it, but this is going to listen to your own API. It should going to listen forward to your own API. So basically you need to give your own base URL API. So let's go to the base URL. So let's get it from the base URL over here. So copy this URL. This is the URL. Copy it, paste it. Then after the app slash, let's go to the API products. So this is the API products, right? So let's go to the index from your function. Where is that function? Functions. From here, go copy this and paste it here, API slash products, then slash, you need to give your webhooks, this one, webhook. This should listen to that webhook. So basically Stripe listen forward to our local host API slash product slash webhook, this one. So once you press enter, so that will start listening to it. Okay, so now it start listening to it. All right. So then what we need to do, we just need to call this. Where is that one more terminal? Here, if I give this payment intent succeeded, if I trigger that payment, okay, so here it's showing some due to some reason, for some reason I don't know why it's not validating our this webhooks. Okay, because we haven't added that webhook. You can see that endpoint secret. This is our endpoint secret, webhook secret. So what we need to do is we need to keep this secretly. So copy this, and let's go to the environment variable env. So right after here, we need to say as webhook underscore secret, and then put it over there. Okay, so keep it over there safely without any double quotes or single quotes. So then what we need to do is right above this const the place where we are calling this. Copy this and go to your product.js. So this is the place where we are using it. So here equals process.env dot this secret. Copy this, paste it over there, save the changes, and restart our server. Control C, restart our server because we updated our local environment variable. So now we have that endpoint secret. We have this endpoint secret which is loading from our environment variable. So let's trigger that one more time. Let's trigger it one more time. So let's trigger that Stripe payment one more time over here. Stripe payment. So see here, still we are not getting that value due to some reasons. It's still showing that 400. That means the post bad request error. So what we need to do is we need to make some changes over here. So I'm going to make some changes just for try to follow me from here, because we don't know, I couldn't figure it out why exactly what's the exact reason it's not allowing the user to validate our webhook secret. It's not validating our webhook secret, so it's not taking this point. Okay, so what we need to do is so here now what we need to do, we just need to change a few settings over here. All you have to do is to let me create so here I'm just going to create if webhook, if the endpoint secret, if I have that endpoint secret, then I need to load this, all this. So let me handle the events later. Let me delete this and let me bring everything inside over here. If it doesn't have that webhook secret, I need to change these things. Okay, so now what we need to do is, so over here I'm going to create two more variables. One that is let me bring this event inside over here, and here I'm going to create two more variable. Let event type, what event type it's triggering, the triggered by the Stripe payment. Then let data. Okay, we're going to get the data from our request.body. Okay, inside this else part inside this else part I'm going to get the data information. So data is equals request.body dot data dot object. So that will return a data, and inside the data you will have the object, what exact object it is, like the information about the payments and everything. Then event type, we have that, so we need to get the event type. So request.body dot type, save the changes, and now copy this. In case if there is endpoint secret in future, if it is working properly, we need to get that event also. So change, give it over here, and instead of that we're gonna, instead of request.body, I'm going to get it from the event itself, the event object which we're having over there. Okay, in case if it is working perfectly, we need to get that one also. So that's the reason we are adding all those informations over there. Save the changes. Now right after here I'm gonna get that event type. Event type, it should be equals to checkout dot session dot complete. Checkout dot session dot completed. So if you want to learn more about the checkout, if you go to the add endpoints and select the events, you can go to the checkout and you can see the checkout session completed. See, this is the event type like we are checking right now, checkout session completed. Okay, so if this endpoint is validating, verification is done smoothly, we can easily work on this data. We don't need to worry about it, and we don't need to move on to the our custom hooks and everything. Now what we need to do is, if this is been triggering, like here we just need to let's say console.log data, say the changes. Now let's go to your this and let's trigger the payment option one more time. Try trigger. So now it's should, okay, so let's Still it's showing the bad request. So let's load it through our front end application. Let's go to the cart. Let's check out over here. Let's me bring this terminal and keep it over here. Check out. All right, so it's loading. Now let me give some informations. So let's choose all the informations and let's provide the card details 4242424242 and click pay option over here. So that will process the payment. All right, so it's authenticating and its payment is successfully completed. Okay, so now if I go here, okay, still it's showing an issue only. The payment is not processing. It should get that success by now, but why the hook it's showing an issue? Oh, my bad. I forgot to comment this. Actually, we return this if condition if this endpoint is not, because we know that this endpoint secret is not validating. If this is not validating, we need to execute this else part. So I forgot to comment this. So now if you trigger this, if you execute that command, now we are getting 500. We are getting the 500 error. What is the issue? Let's go here and let's see what is the issue, as endpoint secret is not defined. So it's showing an endpoint secret is not defined. So let's keep this as over here and change this variable to let and change this to like this. That means it's showing that this variable itself, it's not there. I'm just going to hide this one, not this endpoint secret itself. Now let's call it one more time. See, look at that. We got the 200 status over here. Okay, so this is the best success request. That means the payment is processing successfully and our webhook is listening successfully. Now what we need to do is we need to get the customer informations and we need to put that customer informations into the metadata to store the order in our custom database. So that's what we're gonna do next. All right, then since we successfully configured our webhooks with our Stripe payment, so then what we need to do is all you have to do is to get back to your you need to get back to our customer. We need to get the customer information. So to create a customer, what you need to do is, like if you want to create your own customer, so here if you go to the documentation and search for customer, if you search for customer, you can see the customers over here, and that will gives you the like details about informations about the customers, how to create the customers and all the informations over there. So go there and do a little bit research in the documentation and then create that informations over there. So if you want to pre-fill the customer data, this is what I'm talking about. Session, checkout session, create the customer informations and everything. If it is an existing customer, you can supply your customer ID directly over here. Okay, so in this case we're gonna create our own customer. So what I'm going to do is, so right before this line item, we're gonna create our own customer. So const customer is equals await Stripe dot customer dot create. We're going to create the customer. Then inside this we're going to send the metadata information, metadata colon, open it, we're going to pass the user ID, cart informations and everything. You're going to pass the user ID, cart information. Okay, from the request.data user object is there. So we have the cart information. So we need to send the cart over here. We need to convert this as a JSON data format so that this will convert it as a JSON string format. So we're going to create the customer with the metadata of all these informations, and we're going to send this cart item over here. So this is the place where I said metadata. Stripe allows the metadata of maximum only 500 characters, but inside our items itself, we can see that the image URL which we are having, which is more than 500. So it will not allows us to create that. It will throws an error. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so then what we need to do is, right after here, we need to send our customer ID inside our session ID. So here, line items will be added over here. Right after this line items, you need to send your customer to the customer object. We already created our customer. So dot ID, we'll send that ID and add the comma over here. So if the payment, so if the event is successfully triggered over here, instead of console logging it over here, I'm just going to say Stripe dot customers dot retrieve. We're going to retrieve the data, RETRIEV, retrieve the data of the customer. Then it will return a promise. We'll get that promise. Then we'll get that customer information from here. So I'm just going to say console.log customer, and I'm just going to say it as, let's say, customer details, then comma customer, and I'm going to say console.log, let's say data, comma data. Save the changes. So then what we need to do, we'll just go here and let's go to the cart, and over here now let's click the checkout. We are getting an issue. It's showing await stripe.create, cannot read the properties of undefined create. Why it's showing undefined? Stripe we already created, await stripe object we already created, where const customer await stripe customers, oh sorry, customers, not customer, customers. So Control J, let's go to the, keep the terminal open so that we can monitor the error. So click the checkout. Now see, it's showing an issue. What is that issue? So this is that showing the product, it's going more than 500. So the error over here is like, it will not allow us to, it's showing invalid value. So it can, that must be a string under 500 characters, only under 500 characters it can be processed. So we need to shorten this URL. See, this URL itself, it's going beyond that character. So each value should be less than 500 character. So that's the reason Stripe payment is not allowing. So to avoid this issue, what you need to do is you need to use this extension in your Firebase project. You need to use this extension. If you go to the extension tab, and there you can see shorten URL. You need to use that extension to shorten this Firebase URL. So this can be done only if you are using the paid version. So let me refresh it. It's taking some time. I don't know why. Sorry. So this can be done only if you click the explore the extension and search for shorten. This is the one. This is the one I'm talking about. You need to change your plan to the what is that, the premium version. Then you need to install the shortened URL. Then you need to configure the shortened URL with the Firebase project. Then this whenever you are inserting a new object, this particular field will be shortened with maximum around 100 or 60 characters per link. So that will reduce the characters so that we can add the multiple products over here. For the time being, what we can do to rectify this situation, we can reduce the quantity over here, reduce it. That will be reduced, reduce this. It's taking time, and now we can reduce this. Come on, reduce it. So now we can reduce it one more time, reduce the quantity. Okay, so now if you try the checkout now, this will not throw an issue. This will process that checkout. Okay, so the issue I couldn't, I tried a lots and lots of possible ways to fix this issue, but I couldn't find out. The only option is you need to convert this your project to the premium version. Go to the shorten URL extension and add it to your project and configure it. Then that's the only one way that we can achieve that. So here now, if I click this and if I place the order, let me fill the dummy informations. Then 4242424242444444. So let me see if I click this pay option. So that will authenticate yourself and that will pay the user details. And now you can see we have that user details and along with the customer informations and everything. See, this is that user information. And if you scroll down over here, we can see the customer details, shipping address, and all the information which is necessary for that, which we can have this information to put our details, which we can create our own order in our database. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do next. All right then, so since we successfully got our customer details informations over here, so now what we need to do is we need to create an order. So I'm going to create a separate method over here like const create order. So let me copy and paste that and then I can explain you a bit. Let me copy it and let me paste it over here. So you can see this is the cart create order which we're gonna create it, which is going to store all our informations into our own database, the place where we are. So create order, we are sending the customer information which we have in our hand, and we are sending the data which we are having in our hand, and along with that we are sending the response also. So here add one more thing, end, to avoid unwanted issue. Okay, so if you expand this, you can see what is the duty of this function. See, calling writable end method signals that no more data will be returned to the writable options to avoid unwanted issues for future. So just add this link, add this end function over there. So now we're going to create an order. So then this is the order ID that we're going to create, and this is the data I'm going to create, intent ID. We need the intent ID which is coming from your data ID. This is that ID, intent ID. Then we're going to create our own order ID. Then amount, basically this is the total amount, and created, when it's created you can get that created from here. And payment method, what is the payment method that the customer used it, so you can get that payment method from the payment method types over here. And what is the status, whether it is paid or not, and you can get the customer information from the customer details. If you go up there, you can get the customer details. Then we can get the shipping details information from the shipping details. We having this user ID from the customer object inside the customer metadata. If you go there, where is the customer? Here is the customer. See, inside the customer metadata we have that user ID, and inside the metadata we have that cart information, and inside the customer metadata itself we have the total. So we added everything, and by default we are setting the status as preparing. That means we are preparing the order. So we are going to store it in the order collections orders, and we're going to create that order ID, and we're going to set this data. So once it's done, of course, we need to delete this cart item. We need to make this cart item empty. So we're going to create one more method to delete that cart item. So I just created this console log to make sure where this is going and how these details are processing and everything. So I'm going to create this, call this delete cart also. I'm going to paste it over here. So delete cart. For the delete cart, I'm getting the customer meta user ID, and then I'm sending the cart information. I'm parsing the JSON because that is a string data. Over here we having this is a string data. See, it's a string. So we need to parse that data by using json.parse, and we send the detail to the delete cart. Okay, so now we have that item as well as the user ID, and of course I'm going to delete that. I'm going to map each and every icon inside that item. I'm going to map it. If I have more than 2 items, I can map it and I can delete that item from the products table. Okay, so make sure this cart items and the items are same. Let's scroll up a bit and we can go up and we can figure it out. Cart items and the items both are same. So all these functions are same. Let's save these changes. If everything is working fine now, once the payment is successfully done, let's go to the checkout success now. We'll give the checkout options, fill the details, and give the numbers. And for 44424242424 click pay. Once this is done, now what will happen is the data order will be created and the data will be successfully deleted from our database. So data is created, and now data order is not yet, data order is created, but the delete card, I think the data is not deleted. Let's go ahead and see whether Firestore database whether, let's see whether the order is created or not. No, the order is also not created. So why is that? So we call this create order. Create order is called over here. It's printed. It's printed the data. So let's console, let's stop this and let's print, let's make sure console.log inside the orders, and let's copy this and let's paste it over here inside delete. Save the changes. Let's refresh this. Since the order is not created, that means of course it's not going to delete as well. So there is some mistakes. Let's refresh the changes. Let's go here and refresh the changes. Let's stop the server and rerun the server. Refresh the changes. All right, now we have the cart. Let's give a try one more time. Check out, fill the details and everything over here. Oops, this is a number, mobile number. So click the pay option. So now over here it's authenticating, it's showing inside the orders, and still it's processing. It's processed. Okay, it's coming inside the order, but the order shouldn't, it's the delete order, it should not, it's not waiting. It's not waiting, that's the problem. But we already created as the await option over here. So what we need to do, let's try it one more time. Why it's not waiting? So every time it is authenticating. I'm not sure why it's authenticating, because when I'm practicing it was not happening like that. It's delaying that time over there. Click the pay option. So now see that authenticating inside the orders, and we are getting some errors. See, inside the orders we get the details, and it's inside the delete, and it's deleted the order. And if you go to your, and you can see the cart is empty now. And if you go here, if you go to the Firestore database, click the Firestore database and refresh this, you should be able to see your orders. You can see the orders, and the cart items is deleted because our cart is now empty. See, our cart is now empty, and inside the orders you can see all the informations which you want to see, like basically the the amount, what is the amount, customer details, and the item details, and the payment method, and the shipping address. So we successfully stored our details in the orders database, and as well as we made the payment successful also. So the next thing what we need to do is to create the orders and to display the orders inside the admin dashboard, and as the same way the user can able to see the orders as well. So let's go ahead and create that.